Ladies and gentlemen, one of the toughest lessons life will ever teach you is this: your struggles are yours alone. No matter how loudly you cry, how deeply you hurt, or how hard you fall, most people will simply walk past. Some will pretend they didn't notice, others might offer a few polite words of sympathy, and a rare few may lend a hand for a moment. But in the end, it's you who has to lift yourself off the floor. And I know it sounds lonely, maybe even a little unfair, but here's the twist in the story. That loneliness is where your strength is born. When I came to Mumbai, I didn't have a godfather, a film background, or even a concrete plan. All I had was hunger in my eyes and a madness in my heart. People didn't line up to give me a chance. I was just another outsider in a city of stars, one more name in a crowd of dreamers. And that's okay, because it forced me to become my own biggest cheerleader, my own coach, my own critic. No one was there to push me out of bed when I felt broken. No one told me, "You're meant for greatness." I had to whisper that to myself again and again until I believed it. See, the moment you stop expecting someone else to save you is the moment you start saving yourself. You stop waiting for help, and instead you start becoming the kind of person you would want to rely on. That shift, that's the beginning of greatness. Because let's face it, everyone is fighting their own battle. Everyone's got demons. Everyone's got dreams they're trying to chase while carrying the weight of their past, their fears, their failures. So it's not that people don't care. It's that most people are too busy trying to survive. You're not the only one who feels like the world is heavy on their shoulders. And that's why owning your struggle is so powerful. Because when you face it head on, when you stop waiting for someone to rescue you, something incredible happens. You start transforming. You become resilient. You become resourceful. You become the kind of person no storm can shake. That pain you're feeling right now, that frustration, that sense of being invisible, of not being understood, that's fuel. That's fire. It'll either burn you down or light up a path that no one else could have walked but you. I know we live in a world obsessed with comfort. Everything is about instant results, click a button, solve a problem. But real growth doesn't work that way. Real strength is forged in silence, in nights when no one texts back, in mornings when the alarm rings and you drag yourself out of bed anyway. It's in the choices you make when nobody's watching. It's in how you speak to yourself when the whole world seems to have turned its back. People often say to me, "You're so lucky," and yes, I am. But luck, my friends, is what shows up after you've already been broken, bruised, and bent, but refuse to give up. The world only sees the shine, the stardom, the fame. What they don't see are the auditions I failed, the moments of self-doubt, the days when I felt like I was nothing. But I never stopped. I kept showing up, not because anyone else believed in me, but because I did. And that's what I want you to remember. You don't need 100 people in your corner. You just need one. You. If no one claps for you, clap for yourself. If no one cheers you on, cheer louder in your own heart. One day, the world will notice. They'll say, "You changed. You made it." And you'll smile, not because they finally see you, but because you never stopped seeing yourself. Your struggles are yours, yes. But so is the strength they unlock. And believe me when I say this, there's nothing more powerful than someone who's walked through fire and decided to keep dancing. You can wake up every single day before the sun rises. You can work harder than anyone else in the room. You can sacrifice your sleep, your time, your comfort, even your relationships in pursuit of something bigger. But in the end, most people won't see any of that. What they'll see is whether you succeeded or failed. That's the hard truth. The world doesn't applaud the struggle, it applauds the success. It doesn't see the hours behind the curtain, it only watches the show. And when the lights go off and the applause dies down, you're left with just one question: was it worth it? Now, I say this not to discourage you, but to prepare you. When I was starting out, I did countless auditions, endless rehearsals. I did roles that barely got noticed, I acted in TV shows, small scenes, blink and you miss it moments, but I gave those moments everything because I knew something that others didn't. Even when the world isn't watching, your future is. And I also knew this. People only start paying attention once you've won something. You can give 100% and still not be celebrated. You can fail with dignity and no one will write headlines about it. Because the truth is, the world doesn't have the time or the patience to care about your effort unless it ends in something they can recognize. An award, a big break, a shiny label they can attach to your name. So what do? Do you stop trying? Do you quit because no one clapped for your hard work? No. What you do is this. You flip the script. You stop working for applause. You stop moving for validation. You stop asking for people to understand your effort. And instead, you start falling in love with the process itself. Because if you don't love the grind, if you don't respect your own sweat, if you're only doing it for the crowd, then what happens when the stadium is empty? There were days when I acted in front of cameras that didn't roll, in rehearsal halls that echoed with silence. There were times when I rehearsed lines with no audience, performed with no lights, worked with no reward in sight, but even then, I gave it everything because success wasn't promised, but honor in effort, that was always mine to claim. You see, the world celebrates the destination, but greatness lives in the journey. It lives in the quiet hours, in the repetitions, in the failures, in the lessons no one sees. So don't be disheartened when your effort goes unnoticed. It's not wasted, it's not invisible, it's just not loud yet. But it's building something, slowly, powerfully, brick by brick. And one day, yes, one fine day, when the wall is tall enough, when the picture is big enough, people will see it and say, wow, look at that. They'll call it overnight success. They'll say you are lucky, and you'll smile because only you will know about the nights you cried, the days you almost quit, the moments you held yourself together when everything was falling apart. You'll know that behind every result they admire is a story of effort they'll never understand. And that's okay, because you didn't do it for them. You did it for the dream. You did it for yourself. That's the kind of success that lasts. The kind that doesn't need applause to feel real. The kind that comes from inner victory, not just outer validation. So work. Work when no one's watching. Work when no one believes. Work when no one understands. And keep working until your results are so loud they can't ignore you anymore. Because the truth is, yes, the world sees results, not efforts. But the people who create those results, they're the ones who kept going long after the world stopped looking. And that is what makes all the difference. There comes a time in your life when you realize something quite powerful, something that changes the way you look at everything. You don't need anyone's approval to become who you are meant to be. The moment you stop seeking validation from others is the moment you begin to taste true freedom. We live in a world where every thought is posted, every move is shared, and every achievement is followed by a desperate question. Did they see it? Did they like it? Did they applaud? We have become addicted to being seen, to being praised, to being validated. And while it might feel good for a moment, it's also the very thing that chains us down. There was a time early in my career when I tried to please everyone. I wanted the critics to respect me, the audience to love me, the industry to recognize me. And with every step I took, I wondered, is this enough for them? Am I doing what they expect of me? But here's the catch. You can never do enough for a world that keeps changing the rules. One day they'll love you for your charm, the next they'll mock you for the same thing. One moment you're the king, the next you're questioned, doubted, discarded, and if you tie your worth to their applause, you'll spend your whole life dancing to music you didn't choose. So I stopped. I stopped needing the nods, the claps, the headlines. I chose roles that felt right to me, even when people doubted them. I took risks, some that worked, some that didn't, but all of them were mine. That's when I found peace. Not in being loved by everyone, but in being true to myself. You see, real freedom begins when you no longer need anyone to tell you who you are. You know your truth, you know your journey, you know the sweat, the scars, the silence you've survived. And that's more powerful than 1,000 likes, 1,000,000 followers, or even the loudest applause. When you let go of validation, you make space for authenticity, for creativity, for boldness. You're no longer boxed in by expectation. You're no longer afraid to fail because failure doesn't define you, your courage does. You stop playing it safe and you start playing it real. Think about it. How many dreams have died because someone was afraid of being judged? How many voices have been silenced because they feared being laughed at? How many ideas have been buried alive all because someone said, "What will people think?" Let me tell you something. People will always think something. That's their job. Let them do it. Your job is to live boldly, fully, unapologetically. You were not born to be understood by everyone. You were born to become yourself. And that version of you, the real one, is not always going to be popular, not always going to be accepted, but it will be honest, it will be alive, and it will be free. The irony is, the moment you stop needing validation is the moment people start admiring you. They sense it, the confidence, the calm, the clarity. They look at you and wonder, how is this person so fearless, so sure? And the answer is simple, because you stopped asking for permission to be who you already are. So if you're tired of performing, of proving, of constantly editing yourself to fit in, just stop. Be still. Listen to your own voice. It's been waiting. It's always known the way. Freedom doesn't come from being accepted. It comes from accepting yourself. Flaws and all, dreams and doubts, the light and the shadow. And once you do that, no one can control you with opinions. No one can limit you with fear. No one can trap you in their version of success. You become something rare. Something the world can't define, but can't ignore either. So stop shrinking to fit into someone else's idea of greatness. Stop waiting for a green light that you've had inside you all along. Let go of validation. Grab hold of freedom and watch how your life changes, not just from the outside, but from within.